Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Bushra Shaza. This lecture is the continuity of catabolism of protein and amino acid nitrogen. Today we are going to discuss sources of ammonia, symptoms, types, toxicity and treatment of hyperammonemia, reactions and regulation of urea cycle. Major sources of ammonia are amino acid, intestinal bacteria, amines, purines and pyrimidines. Amino acids are quantitatively the most important source of ammonia because most diets are high in protein and provide excess amino acids, which travels to the liver and undergo transdeamination. That is linking of the aminotransferase and glutamate dehydrogenase reactions, which producing ammonia. The liver catabolizes straight chain amino acids primarily. However, substantial amounts of ammonia can be obtained from other sources. An important source of plasma glutamine is from the catabolism of branch-chain amino acid in skeletal muscle. This glutamine is taken up by the cells of intestine, the liver and the kidneys. The liver and kidneys generate ammonia from glutamine by the action of glutaminase and glutamate dehydrogenase, as we have already discussed in previous slides. In the kidneys, most of the ammonia is excreted into the urine as ammonium ion, which provides an important mechanism for maintaining the body's acid-base balance through the excretion of protons. In the liver, the ammonia is detoxified to urea and excreted. Ammonia is also generated by intestinal glutaminase. Next source of ammonia is intestinal bacteria. Ammonia is formed from urea by the action of bacterial urease in the lumen of the intestine. This ammonia is absorbed from the intestine by the way of the portal vein, and virtually all is removed by the liver via conversion to urea. Next source of ammonia is amines. Amines obtained from the diet and monoamines that serve as hormones or neurotransmitters give rise to ammonia by the action of monoamine oxidase. Another important source of ammonia is purines and pyrimidines. In the catabolism of purines and pyrimidines, amino group attached to the ring atoms are released as ammonia. Hyperammonemia. The capacity of hepatic urea cycle exceeds the normal rate of ammonia generations, and the level of blood ammonia are normally low, that is 5 to 35 micromole per liter or 10 to 25 microgram per deciliter. However, when liver function is compromised due either to genetic defects of the urea cycle or liver disease, blood levels can be greater than 1000 micromole per liter, that is hyperammonemia. Such hyperammonemia is a medical emergency because ammonia has a direct neurotoxic effect on the central nervous system. For example, elevated concentration of ammonia in the blood cause the symptoms of the ammonium intoxication, which includes tremor, slurring of speech, somnolence or drowsiness, vomiting, cerebral edema, and blurring of vision. At high concentration, ammonia can cause coma and death. There are two major types of hyperammonemia: acquired and congenital. In acquired type, liver disease is a common cause of acquired hyperammonemia in adults and may be due to viral hepatitis or to hepatotoxins such as alcohol. Cirrhosis of liver may result in the formation of collateral circulation around the liver. As a result, ported blood is shunted directly into the systemic circulation and does not have access to the liver. Therefore, the conversion of ammonia to urea is severely impaired, leading to elevated levels of ammonia. Second type is the congenital hyperammonemia. Genetic deficiencies of each of the five enzymes of the urea cycle and N-acetyl glutamate synthase have been described with an overall incidence of approximately 1 in 25,000 live births. X-linked ornithine transcarbamylase deficiency is the most common of these disorders, predominantly affecting males, although female carriers may become symptomatic. All of the other urea cycle disorders follow an autosomal recessive inheritance pattern. In each case, the failure of synthesized urea leads to hyperammonemia during the first weeks following birth. The hyperammonemia seen with arginase deficiency is less severe because arginine contains two waste nitrogens and can be excreted in the urine. Urea cycle defects had high morbidity and mortality. Treatment. Treatment included restriction of dietary protein in the presence of sufficient calories to prevent protein catabolism. Administration of compounds that bind covalently to non-essential amino acids, producing nitrogen-containing molecules that are excreted in the urine, has improved survival. For example, phenyl butyrate given orally is converted to phenyl acetate. This condenses with glutamine to form phenyl acetyl glutamine, which is excreted. Formation and secretion of ammonia maintains acid-base balance. Excretion into urine of ammonia produced by renal tubular cells facilitate cation conservation and regulation of acid-base balance. Ammonia production from intracellular renal amino acids, especially glutamine, increases in metabolic acidosis and decreases in metabolic alkalosis. How brain responds to hyperammonemia. Ammonia toxicity to brain or central nervous system. Ammonia may be toxic to brain or CNS. Ammonia reacts with alpha-ketoglutarate to form glutamate. This resulting in depletion of alpha-ketoglutarate impairs functions of TCA cycle of neurons. Reaction and intermediates of urea cycle. Urea is major end product of nitrogen catabolism in humans. Synthesis of 1 mole of urea requires 3 mole of ATP, 1 mole each of ammonium ion and of aspartate, and implies 5 enzymes. 6 amino acids participate in urea cycle: N-acetyl glutamate, ornithine, citrulline, and arginosuccinate, arginine, and aspartate. Among these, N-acetyl glutamate functions solely as an enzyme activator. The others serve as carriers of the atoms that ultimately becomes urea. The major metabolic role of ornithine, citrulline and arginosuccinate in mammals is urea synthesis. While ammoniamine, carbon dioxide, ATP and aspartate are consumed, the ornithine consumed in reaction 2 is generated in reaction 5. So there is no net loss or gain of ornithine, citrulline, arginosuccinate or arginine. Some reactions of urea synthesis occur in the matrix of mitochondria and other reactions in the cytosol. Urea synthesis is a cyclic process. Now we will discuss the regulation. Now we will discuss the reactions of urea cycle. Carbamyl phosphate synthase 1 initiate urea biosynthesis. Condensation of carbon dioxide, ammonia and ATP to form carbamyl phosphate is catalyzed by mitochondrial carbamyl phosphate synthase 1. A cytosolic form of this enzyme, carbamyl phosphate synthase 2, uses glutamine rather than ammonia as the nitrogen donor and function in pyrimidine biosynthesis. The concerted action of glutamate dehydrogenase and carbamyl phosphate synthase 1 thus shuttles amino nitrogen into carbamyl phosphate, a compound with high group transfer potential. Carbamyl phosphate synthase 1, the rate limiting enzyme of the urea cycle, is active only in the presence of N-acetyl glutamate, an allosteric activator that enhances the affinity of the synthase for ATP. Synthesis of 1 mole of carbamyl phosphate requires 2 mole of ATP. 1 ATP serves as the phosphoryl donor for formation of the mixed acid and hydride bond of carbamyl phosphate. The second ATP provides the driving force for synthesis of amide bond of carbamyl phosphate. The other products are 2 mole of ADP and 1 mole of inorganic phosphate. The reaction proceeds stepwise. Reaction of bicarbonate with ATP forms carbamyl phosphate and ADP. Ammonia then displaces ADP, forming carbamate and orthophosphate. Phosphorylation of carbamate by the second ATP then forms carbamyl phosphate. Carbamyl phosphate plus ornithine forms citrulline. L-ornithine transcarbamylase catalyzes transfer of the carbamyl group of carbamyl phosphate to ornithine, forming citrulline and orthophosphate. While the reactions occurs in the mitochondrial matrix, both the formation of ornithine and the subsequent metabolism of citrulline takes place in the cytosol. Entry of the ornithine into mitochondria and exodus of citrulline from mitochondria therefore involve mitochondrial inner membrane permeases. Next step is citrulline plus aspartate forms arginosuccinate. Arginosuccinate synthase links aspartate and citrulline via the amino group of aspartate and provides the second nitrogen of urea. The reaction requires ATP and involves intermediate formation of citrulyl AMP. Subsequent displacement of AMP by aspartate then forms arginosuccinate. Now the next step is cleavage of arginosuccinate form arginine and fumarate. Cleavage of arginosuccinate is catalyzed by arginosuccinate lyase. The reaction proceeds with retention of all three nitrogens in arginine and release of aspartate skeleton as fumarate. Subsequent addition of water to fumarate forms L-malate, whose subsequent NAD dependent oxidation forms oxaloacetate. These two reactions are analogous to reactions of the citric acid cycle but are catalyzed by cytosolic fumarase and malate dehydrogenase. Transamination of oxaloacetate by glutamate aminotransferase then reforms aspartate. The carbon skeleton of aspartate fumarate thus acts as a carrier of the nitrogen of glutamate into a precursor of urea. Next reaction is cleavage of arginine releases urea and reforms ornithine. Hydrolytic cleavage of the guanidino group of arginine catalyzed by liver arginase releases urea. The other product, ornithine, re-enters liver mitochondria and participates in additional rounds of urea synthesis. Ornithine and lysine are potent inhibitor of arginase and compete with arginine. Arginine also serves as the precursor of the potent muscle relaxant nitric oxide in a calcium-dependent reaction catalyzed by nitric oxide synthase. Now the regulation of urea cycle. Carbamyl phosphate synthase 1 is the pacemaker enzyme of the urea cycle. The activity of carbamyl phosphate synthase 1 is determined by N-acetyl glutamate, whose steady state level is dictated by the balance between its rate of synthesis from acetyl-CoA and glutamate and its rate of hydrolysis to acetate and glutamate. Reactions catalyzed by N-acetyl glutamate synthase and N-acetyl glutamate decyclase respectively. N-acetyl glutamate decyclase, which is also called the hydrolase. Acetyl-CoA react with L-glutamate forming N-acetyl L-glutamate and CoA. Reaction is catalyzed by N-acetyl glutamate synthase. N-acetyl glutamate hydrolyzes into L-glutamate and acetate. Reaction is catalyzed by N-acetyl glutamate deacylase. Major changes in diet can increase the concentration of individual urea cycle enzymes 10 to 20 fold. For example, starvation elevates enzyme levels, presumably to cope with the increased production of ammonia that accompanies enhanced starvation-induced degradation of protein. This is all about the reaction of urea cycle and its regulation. Thank you very much.